I do the MUNCH. Stop 56 on my quest to visit all 291 Michelin-recognised eateries in Singapore. And you join us on a microbus en route to our second starred restaurant of the quest. It's Marguerite, which is in the bottom of the Flower Dome and the base for a meal of the highest quality. To say that Australian chef patron Michael Wilson knows how to cook is an understatement. His previous restaurant in Shanghai collected a star in just 5 months. Opening under COVID restrictions was probably the only detail of Marguerite Chef Michael didn't have a hand in. From the interiors to the glassware to the ceramics, take this plate reminiscent of my own COVID sourdough attempts. This Melbourne native has taste. The inspectors agreed, and just 8 months later they were added to the list. Chef Michael has farmers, fishermen and foragers running around all over Australia, sourcing the best of the best, plated up under the names of dishes you recognise using techniques I can't comprehend. Take, for example, steak and eggs, served in the form of Wagyu tartare, caviar and a perfect quail's egg. Alongside this was essentially a duck liver parfait in a veil of hibiscus, which I saw straight through and quickly identified as delightful. Or ratatouille, deconstructed and shaped into a cigar. I'm a sucker for stuff like this, and it was smoked in seconds. They're not beating around the bush with the first course. Actually, they probably are, as it's wild red kangaroo fur, consumed for a bouquet of herbs, which would make a lovely buttonhole for a wedding. It immediately takes the crown as the best of my life, and is anointed Fur King. Delicious. More royalty follows with the Kingfish Crudo, which in its simplest form is dry-aged for 1 week with beetroot and wasabi leaf, and served with a buttermilk dressing. But in reality, it's so much more than that. The food is really clever, the cooking is clearly of an insanely high standard, but, and most importantly, it's also just really tasty. Like watching Fisher DJ, it's banger after banger. A bread lick, a custard beet with king crab. The standout dishes for me were the smoked eel, which was infused with flavours of the sea to the extent that they use oyster water to cook the potatoes. And then a Wagyu dish with native Australian spinach and a Sarawak pepper jus. In Asia, I occasionally find that the puds can sometimes be duds, but not here. The strawberry gum vacherin is gorgeous, and the best example of an eaten mess since Prince Harry. Meanwhile, I count 5 chocolates and pastries, including an ode to an iced Vovo, which is a perfect final bite before we go-go. I feel like we are witnessing a chef just before his big moment. Think Kathy Freeman on the start line at the Sydney Olympics, or even the toadfish auditioning for Neighbours. So in summary, give me a 1-star Marguerite and you should pay it some heed. Give 2 stars to Marguerite and they'll be well deserved indeed.